Action.
Welcome to the New Atlantean Society, a high society on high seas. We're your hosts, Anna Rocklina, and
Jedi Hill.
in today's episode, we'll be covering 7 Hermetic Principles. And we're going to start with the first principle, which is principle of mentalism. And we're using Jedi's book, as you can see. And again, this book is in a
You have both the not released to the public audiobook and the PDF down in the resource
resources,
X.
yes. So the first principle, principle of mentalism. The all is mind, the universe is mental, the Kabbalion.
Okay, so this is the base, all is mind, everything is consciousness. This is where the first laws of metaphysics is that energy follows thought. So this was a fun one. This is where you get the double slit experiment in physics, where it shows that electrons will move in either a wave or act like a solid particle based on the observer. So it shows that everything affects everything. And everything is intimately connected. It's all different thought forms. You think this physical couch I'm sitting on is physical. It's not. It's just vibrating little bits of energy and thought.
Fascinating. Love this.
So this is one, gives you an overreaching concept, and it'll help the other ones make more sense as we go along.
Okay. All right. So the second principle is principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above, the Kabbalion.
Yeah. As within, so without. So this is talking, like the distance between the cells in your body is the distance of stars in the sky. Your ratios in your atom, where you have the proton and neutrons in the center and the electrons out, will be similar ratios to the orbit of the planets and then the galaxies and things like that. You're looking at a mathematical structure, things being connected up and down. Now, in the more esoteric and occult realms, which the occult is just hidden knowledge and the esoteric is more specialized knowledge like mathematics, physics, biology. All these things would have been considered esoteric a few hundred years ago, and it's still specialized and not everybody studies them.
Okay.
So you have your correspondence. It'll also be used in like health and medicine. Like grapes look like the alveoli in your lungs, little bags of air. So it said that the grapes are good for breathing lungs, and it has nutrients in it like resveratrol that's actually anti-aging and a super antioxidant. So it really is fascinating how those things will go. The kidney beans have specific minerals in them that relate to the kidneys. It's just really fascinating as you get into all these different correspondence. What was it? Rudolf Steiner wrote a couple good books on correspondence. And I'll see if I don't know if they're in the public domain to where I can give them to you, or I can at least will mention them in the comments and stuff below later.
Okay.
When we dig in those books. And if I got the author wrong, whoops, sorry.
Okay. All right. Next principle.
Yes.
Principle of vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. The Kabbalion.
Okay. So I mentioned this one in the first principle. Like you look at the stuff solid, I touch it, but you think it's like not moving, but each one of the little atoms and molecules is vibrating, and they're actually just vibrating bits of energy waves. Everything is waves upon waves upon waves. So nothing's solid. It's all moving if it's in this physical reality at all. Think, your light is moving faster than your sound, and then you get your plasma and all these fun things to go through here. this is also a concept in your physics that everything moves, everything vibrates. So it goes right along with science, nothing woo-woo. It's just basic how the universe works.
Yes. Okay, the next principle, principle of polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. The Kabbalion.
And we actually do have links to the Kabbalion in addition to my book to go deeper on these topics in the resource section for you.
Mhm.
So with polarity, you're talking your opposites, day, night, hot, cold, things like that.
Mhm.
And you think they're completely different, but they're actually just on a spectrum.
Republicans and Democrats. I have to put that one in.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one of this video. Not going there.
We're not going there. Not on this course.
Yeah, no, because we're doing there won't be none of that on the Atlantis anyways. So
Yes.
no political parties.
No political parties.
So hot and cold. Cold is merely the absence of heat. So it's on the scale, like that's why you have absolute zero. And even at absolute zero, we have the 0 point energy showing there's vacuum fluctuations of movement and energy. At as cold as you can make it, it still moves. It still has energy.
Yes.
So with the polarity, the reconciled day and night. So night is just, missing of the light, good and evil. You're just missing your God in your view, and that's what makes things appear evil.
Clarify that, please, for our listeners. God and evil. This is a very good topic.
Good and evil. Like eventually
Yeah,
you'll get to
good
the
and
point
evil.
where you can realize things just are. Like people would look at darkness as evil, but it's just the absence of the light. So you bring the goodness, you bring the love, you bring the light, the darkness goes away.
Mhm. Yeah, that's all we need to do. Just shine your light.
Mhm.
Find that light in your heart and shine it.
And when you're looking at mystical symbols, this one is represented by the yin yang symbol. And I know they were looking at different quarks and things, and you'll find MIT has actually, found the symbol pops up in the with electron microscopes in the structure of atoms, which is really cool. The ancient symbol's like, how the hell did they know this? All these many thousands of years ago, predating history. And everything has a little touch of everything else. You have the proton in the center, you have the electron orbiting out of the side. We call it negative, doesn't mean it's evil. It's the opposite polarity, the flow to go with things. Magnetic, electric, or electromagnetic universe as you get into it.
Beautiful. Principle number 5, principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. The rhythm compensates. The Kabbalion.
Okay. And I'm reminded of Carl Jung talking, a tree's leaves can only reach to heaven if its roots are reaching down to hell. And I'm paraphrasing, he might have said it backwards of that. But it's your highs are equal to your lows. Remember, everything is a wave moving. You have the crest and the trough and going back and forth. So we love to sail. We'll have water. Actually, more of the videos will be on our boat here once we get to summertime.
Part of our mission, sailing for New Atlantis. So we'll be doing the videos and educational material from our sailboat.
Yep. So.
But yes, and actually, that this principle of polarity
Well,
has
the
been
rhythm.
Yes. Yes. The rhythm, yes. Principle of rhythm has been, I feel like it's been the most challenging for me because it was not hard to grasp it, but I was always wanting to be up there and, feeling great, awesome, elated, happy. I was like, yes, let's go, let's play, let's have fun, create. And then um, being neutral for me was just the understanding of neutrality. What do you mean by neutral? Is it like blah, like boring? And then I realized that actually it doesn't have to be blah and boring. It's that, as Jedi says, returning to center, which is being in your joyful, peaceful state.
Your natural state of
Yeah,
being.
which is a natural state of being, which is we call neutral. And then if you go, whoop, elated, you're like on the seventh cloud, you
Blissed out, yeah.
blissed out. You know what? When you get to that point, you have so much fun. Like, playing with kids, I get so much fun with it. I get so excited. But then when I go down, I was like, ooh, that was a lot of fun. And then I go down, I was like, okay, I need to relax now, recharge my battery.
And it's like
So,
going to concerts and
yeah,
partying
yeah,
and play.
yes.
You have the ebb and flow and everything. You
Mhm.
have the cycle of the seasons. You're not trying to
Yeah.
plant your seeds in the hard ground in the middle of winter. You wait till it starts to thaw in the spring so you can actually get your plow in the ground.
Yes.
And then you harvest in the fall, save your seeds, eat, do it all over again. Hibernate, do it again.
Yes, that's the rhythm. Okay, principle, anything else in there? Good?
Oh, that one's a fun one. And all these different things you will use the rhythm, the polarity. Um, if you know the rhythm's coming this way, you can use your polarity to pop and like hop from trough to trough, or not trough to trough, but crest to crest on top of the waves instead of just getting stuck in the troughs.
Or peak of the mountain, from one peak of the mountain to another peak of the mountain. So how do you do that, Jedi? This is like very important for people to do. Quickly.
Quickly.
Yes, quickly. How do you do that?
It's knowing your opposite polarities, like nervous and excited are opposite sides, but like in kind. So you're just using your law of rhythm to, go from I'm nervous to I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited. It's using your law of substitution to switch one thought for another and keep your focus going.
Okay.
And with your law of rhythm, I'm also reminded of JP Morgan, millionaires don't use astrology, use astrologers, billionaires do. Because even the cycles of the stars,
Planets.
yeah, like right now we're in the middle of Mercury retrograde, which means you got to put a little more effort into your communication.
Yes.
And it's usually not a good time to be signing new contracts and things like that for like new business ventures and all those type things.
And if you do sign the contracts, you need to double check everything all the time to make sure no mistakes or misunderstanding occur.
Okay.
All right, so let's move to next principle, which is principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law and not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. Kabbalion.
So this one's a deeper one that we can go into. You have simple things like, oh, I have something, I let it go, it's going to fall for gravity. Cause, effect. And you can actually start to calculate this in every aspect of your life the more you get into things. If you're big into psychology, you can actually start and pre-think, okay, if I say, woman asks, does this dress make my butt look fat? Okay, danger zone, danger, Will Robinson, danger. You know this is a trick question. You are doomed.
He never gives me a clear answer because he knows.
Right. I like how that shaped, because you got to be completely honest, especially if you want telepathy and things to work, and they're going to see your thoughts anyway. So danger zone.
Yeah.
I avoid those questions like, do you like it or not? This is your choice. I'm not going to get involved.
Yeah, that's a good way to reframe it. Do you like it or not? Ask her instead of, getting the answer from him.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
if you
It's a
answer,
trap.
it's totally a trap. Totally a trap. So, she's putting the cause of the trap,
Mhm.
and you get to choose whether you become part of the cause to be caught by the trap or you choose to walk around the trap. Okay. Cause and effect is you're getting physics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. They joke. And I've heard jokes, no good deed goes unpunished. But do good deeds anyways. Because there's going to be reactions. There's going to be, no matter what you're doing, some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it.
Mhm.
And you can see, the ripple effect, and as you're creating your rhythm and your momentum going through life, and then going into the deeper spiritual sides for cause and effect. When you come from cause, that's where you're manifesting your reality. You're going into the void of all potential, where you actually get to know God, put the desire in there, let it go, and then go about your life and just know it'll happen. So,
Yeah.
thinking silently on things like, I'm thirsty. It'd be nice if someone brought me a glass of water. You got to be emotionally unattached from it, but yet put the energy for it, keep it silent with the thought, and then suddenly, waitress walks by. Would you like a glass of water? It's like, oh yes, thank you.
Blessed and know that God will provide. But that's a very difficult concept to grasp for people, especially people who don't believe or have no faith in God. So you have to have absolute faith in God that it can happen and it will happen.
Well, you go beyond faith, the knowing, because you're working from cause instead of getting caught in the ripple effect of effect.
Which is the ripple effect of our doubts and worries and anxieties that humans have been plagued for centuries and centuries, because we're all divine, we're all creators, and it takes mental discipline to reframe your thinking and stop the worry, anxiety, and fears.
And you can take these from a very practical effect too. You're building a house. You be the cause and make sure the joists are tight and all that, and you have a solid foundation up to the roof. Or you can hire cheap, illegal labor, and the beams aren't connected right, and who knows, the house falls over in 2 years. You made your choices, you created your cause, and then you have your ripple effect of the actions.
Just make sure you have your insurance then.
Mhm.
Anything else, my love, on the cause and effect?
Oh, you can play fun with that one all day, and make sure you're going back into the resources, look at the Kabbalah, look at my book, and go more details into this.
Okay. All right. So now we're approaching the final principle number 7, principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. Kabbalion.
And this is also where your derivative of the law of gestation or the law of sowing and reaping, which is where, thinking like a farmer, you plant grape seeds, you're going to get grapes. You plant pepper seeds, you're going to get peppers. You plant weeds, you're going to get weeds. So the seeds are your thoughts and your actions, and then you will sow and reap from that, and time goes on.
Yes.
Just like a baby takes 9 months, a farming can take 3 weeks, 6 months, a year. Some crops are like 3-4 years. So realize with the gender, you also have the time and the flow, and it goes into, again, the base structure of the atom. So you have your masculine is your proton, and your electron that orbits around, just like you have the sun as the masculine, that the ancient cultures worship the light beyond the sun, the source of the sun, not worshiping the sun itself. A hard thing for a lot of people to get the distinction and difference on that one. But then you have the planets, or again, orbiting around the sun as the sun is moving through the universe. And this is where you get to the Hermetic thought of the one thought, which all is mind, and the one thing, which are your electrons and the feminine, which make up everything. So touching here, we're not actually touching, there's a space, it's the electrons bouncing and vibrating each other. So like everything you see, you're only getting to see the electron shell, the flow, to give the illusion of things being solid.
That's a good principle of Jedi. Well, Jedi also wanted to discuss, because we did some relationship material and courses to help people to attract the right partner. Would you please explain that concept? So I'm a feminine, I'm a woman, and you're masculine, you're a man. Would you please explain that in a relationship of, being in a relationship as a couple?
Okay, this is fun. I'll jump back so we can get the masculine and feminine on another level. Is you have the two universal languages are mathematics and music. Well, mathematics is all abstract. It's mental, it's like a laser focus. And it penetrates as it goes.
Yes.
And then you have the feminine following along, and it's like you see, look up at the sky during a storm, you see the lightning, which is the light, and then you hear the thunder come crackling in afterwards. So again, you have the light and the math and the sound, music, making up everything. And you have to understand that women are like that with the music. They're the water, they need to flow. The masculine, relates more to the fire element.
Yes. But can we also use, as a woman, can I have use my masculinity at times?
Well, that's when you're using your logical, your analytical mind. And that's where, if you're doing your executive work, things like that, doing some of the sciences and other different things, you can tap into those. It's kind of like you are majoring in the femininity and minoring in the masculinity for your energies, because
I like that.
it's, even with like the hemispheres of the brain, you have the left side's more analytical, the right side is more creative, the more feminine. So, and only people who are left-handed are in their right mind. Because the left half of the brain controls the right half of the body, and the right half of the brain controls the left half of the body. So fun little tidbit for you there. So that's the overall. I'm the gender, and we'll go. She's got some more videos on relationship tips and things like that, but it's the concept that gender isn't everything, and there's only two, masculine and feminine.
Yes.
We're not going to get into the delusions and that other stuff.
Yes.
But you have the in Hermetics, you have the divine marriage of the masculine and feminine within the individual, and that is where you are learning how to be a whole brain individual and actually connect the two hemispheres of the brain. There's a slight bridge. Myself, I'm more ambidextrous, using both my right and my left to do things. So that actually helps wire. Like, so if you're right-handed, try writing a letter with your left hand. If you're left-handed, try writing a letter with your right hand. And actually you can train and do, whether you're playing basketball, golf, using scissors, work on using both hands to do the different tasks so you can wire the brain back and forth and increase its connectivity. You'll increase your analytical and your creative abilities. So you can actually increase your IQ by learning how to be ambidextrous.
It's interesting. But this is what the 7 Hermetic Principles are, and once you start utilizing them, it's going to actually help you in your life, in your relationships, in your career, and with your family, anything.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, all different topics, and we're going to keep adding to these modules as we go on, and just have fun, step by step. Ask us any questions down in the comments.
yes, ask
This is
questions.
Jedi and Anna signing off.
Peace and love.